Oktoberfest is an annual German festival famous around the world for its beer drinking, food, music, and all-around fun. These days, it actually starts in September and ends on the first Sunday in October. Oktoberfest usually draws over 6 million people to Munich each year, tourists and natives alike. Welcome to the Oktoberfest section of Feast of Coquitlam. My name is Monica Mueller, and today we're going to be making bratwurst and sauerkraut and bratkartoffel. So we're going to start to get the bratkartoffel done because it's the thing that takes the longest. And I have 3 thick cut slices of bacon here. And we're just going to cut them into smaller pieces and get them onto the pan. They're going to start and release their fat, which is needed for the onions. The amount is really flexible and fluid. First of all, bacon is actually an optional ingredient. And if you've got thin cut bacon or you have 2 slices, this is a dish that was made up from leftovers, so what you have available is just fine. We're going to get going on the onion. And again, if you have a family that loves onions, then you can put a full one in for this amount of potatoes, or if you are not so much in favor of onions, then something that is smaller, like half, is just fine too. You're going to find that this is a little bit like shortbread recipes in Scotland. Everybody does it just a little differently. So, cut your onion in half, create slices. Switch angles. And cut through again. And for the amount of potatoes that we have today, that's probably just fine. Use a larger frying pan than you would think you would need to just get everything down onto one level. That's going to cut down on your cooking time because we're going to turn this a couple of times and get these nice and brown and crispy. And if you have a smaller frying pan, it's just going to take longer to get everything. Because it's a good idea for the onions to be translucent. Show that they're partway through their cooking process before we add this in. As the potatoes cook, these larger pieces are going to break down. So the pieces that are here that are smaller are not to worry. They will just mix in the finished product. In the case of bratkartoffeln, leftover cooked potatoes are sliced and combined with onions and bacon if available, then browned over a low to medium heat until crispy. There are many different potato varieties, each with its own characteristics once cooked. Typical to many families of German heritage are yellow potatoes of some variety, especially when cooking salted boiled potatoes. So, sauerkraut, which we are going to make from a jar today, because making it from scratch could take up to 2 months. So this is an easier way to get a meal completed. And the first thing we're going to do is take it out of the container and put it through a sieve. Sauerkraut is really firmly packed, but there is liquid in it, and sometimes it's good to just taste it as a product and see how sour and whether that works for your family or not, because there are some other options if you find that it's just too sour. So for today's demonstration, we're going to keep this liquid out, add the drained sauerkraut to the pot, and then to help balance the flavor, we're going to add in some applesauce. Now the sweetening can actually happen with apple juice or applesauce or fresh cut peeled apples as well. It's what you have available. Some people like to put in bacon, and some people like to use caraway seed. So those are additional options. We're just going to mix this up and get it heated on the back of the stove, and then we'll finish it off once it's warm and bubbly. Now, if you were to decide to keep the liquid and you wanted to put that into the pot here, you can find that the sauerkraut is going to be just a little bit runny. So you can add a bit of grated raw potato or a little bit of cornstarch, to mix that all up and help thicken the juices. But we've added the applesauce, which is also going to give it some liquid. So we're just going to put it on low on the back of the stove and let it continue to heat, and then we'll take another look at what we've got. You will find sauerkraut on almost every savory plate at the festival. It is true that Germany has claimed this fermented vegetable as its own, but we also know that it was a standard meal choice of the builders of the Great Wall of China, made there with rice wine. It is thought that the dish made its way into Europe about 1,000 years ago via the troops of Genghis Khan. Just a little bit about mustard, which is an absolute must to go with this dish. In Germany, very often, the mustard comes in containers that are actual glasses and can be used again once they're finished. German mustard has a little more kick to it than our typical North American mustards, so just be prepared for that, but make sure that you put it on the plate. Finishing touch is always some salt, again to whatever works for your family. And if you would like some, this again is optional, a little bit of pepper. And now we're going to transfer this to a serving dish, and because the pan is hot, put the bratwurst sausages right into this. The brat in Bratwurst and Bratkartoffel is sourced in the concept of unwasted, a way to use up the leftover bits to create another meal from the useful scraps. During harsh winter months in Germany centuries ago, bratwurst was a lifesaver for the community. The smallest bits of meat could not be wasted, so they were gathered up, encased in a thin intestinal covering, and preserved as bratwurst. This same process still exists today at any sausage-making business. So, nice and steaming. And this is again that point where you want to taste. You can add a little bit more applesauce if you feel you need it. There is the addition of sugar if you would like, or salt to just get it perfect for your family. Since we're talking about a beer festival, let's also talk beer. Only 6 beer companies may produce beer for Oktoberfest, and all beer must be brewed within Munich city limits. There is a strict criteria that must be followed before the beer can be called Oktoberfest beer, and Oktoberfest beer is a registered trademark of the Club of Munich Brewers. We are finished. Bratwurst, Bratkartoffel, and sauerkraut with a glass of beer. I wish everyone a lovely Oktoberfest meal wherever you happen to have it. Guten Appetit, and until next time, auf Wiedersehen.